This is a beautiful Zen exercise for everybody. Even if you're a beginner, you'll have no problem doing this. All you need is a compass, and the reason for the compass is just to put a bit of structure on it, nothing else. So if you want to pull out your bit of paper, get yourself a compass and a pencil, and you can follow along with me. This is Oliver, by the way. I'm coming to you from Youghal, the beautiful town by the sea in Ireland. I like to call this the construction phase, or the creating the scaffolding on which everything else is going to hang. And I start off by doing a circle with, in this case it is a 4 centimeter radius, and now I'm going to divide up the circle using exactly the same radius. Now don't keep going around the circle in the same direction. Firstly go clockwise, then anti-clockwise. That way, if there's any mistakes, they're not going to be amplified. And it is important to be neat about this and to take your time. And tell me, are you total novices out there? What do you think about this? Like, I've been at this for a while, but I still like to get back to the basics where, I'm doing things in a mindless way, or in a queer way, that's actually mindfulness way. Because I'm letting the brain relax. I'm doing something that is repetitive, that I don't have to worry at all about colours and if something is going to line up with another one, because by using the compass here, you're making a very good foundation that, as you can see here, all I have to do now is with a pen, and I think I'm using a 0.8 fine liner here, just follow the lines, like nothing more. You could be thinking about nothing, just following the lines and concentrating. And sure, isn't that what Zen is all about, and Zen art? Now, okay, this is not Zen tangles, and I'm not pretending that it is. I just do things that will put me into a zone where I can just be mindful of what I'm doing and nothing else. And okay, I do have a certain thing in the back of my mind that this is being videoed, but do you know what? I forget about that fairly quickly. It doesn't really impinge on what I'm doing at all. I just take my time, draw the lines, and I love drawing lines, whether they're curved or straight, it doesn't make any difference. So I would advise you to do that. Even get out a blank sheet of paper and just draw straight lines. You'll find I've got a lot of other videos where that's all I do. I draw straight lines, crooked lines, curved lines, and then embellish them later on. Now this is a bit that you need to practice doing this, and this is drawing with the flick of the wrist. That the end of the line is much thinner than the start. It is faded away. It takes a bit of getting used to doing that, but you should do that. That is one way of really giving the concept of a 3D image to leaves and things like that, is this sort of a flick of the wrist. Now I'm putting in here, I think they're called stamen. Now, I'm not a gardener by any means, so I could have the wrong name there altogether. And this one is actually, I find it better if you go from the inside out with your line. It gives you a little bit more leeway in terms of where your target is, so you might try that. You can actually do this design totally freehand. There's no need to use a compass. I'm just doing a compass here so that anybody who's got no experience, just follow the lines, follow what I'm doing, and you will come up with the same work of art, because no two people doing it are going to come up with exactly the same. They might be somewhat similar, but don't worry about that. Do something that you're proud of. I remember somebody telling me, even if you think you're not proud of it, don't fall into that trap. You have created a work of art, complete with what you might consider to be mistakes, but they're not. They're just embellishments. And over time, you might find that these mistakes, that is the way that you want to develop your art. You don't want to have something that is exact and that you're confined by specific rules. I think it's good in everything that you do that there's going to be some bit of spontaneity, that you change your idea as you go along. In fact, I've changed my idea here. I was only going to have one stamen in each one, And I just felt, I'll throw in a few more. There's a lot of white spaces there, and I'm a firm believer that a white space is there to be filled in. And that is one of the things I'm working on here, is trying not to fill in everything, because I find there is a certain school of thought within Zen art that you just fill in everything and you don't have any white space. So I'm trying to get back to the white space and give it a little bit more openness. Well, that's the basic part of it done. And all I do now is, well, what's wrong with a splash of colour? A splash of colour is good. And this was very liberating for me, because I decided, don't fill it all up. Leave a couple of white little speckles in it. That is not a mistake. That's something done on purpose. And try and give a bit of fluidity to your stroke. You can see here the stroke is being bent according to the petal, and that's quite important. And if you've been following along will know that the first time I used this pen, I was very disappointed in it, because I was trying to fill in a specific space with a consistent colour, and you can't do that. And in this case, it is better not to do it like that, to give a bit more of an organic feel to it. It's the bit that I'm not used to using colour. I loved it. I really loved doing this part of it, because it's beginning to pop now, isn't it? Can't you see that the centre of it is really deep down in a shadow, and sort of bursting out from there we have these 6 petals. So if deep down is in shadow, then the colour should be deeper down there as well. And if the leaf is curving out and back down again, then the tip of it should be going into a bit of a shadow. And that is what I was trying to do here. A bit of a shading, but shading with colour, something I can tell you I'm not used to. But beginning to feel good about this. So are you following along yourselves? Or are you just sitting there looking at me doing it and making comments about what I'm doing? I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. In fact, whether you take part or not, that's totally up to yourself, isn't it? You have to be in the right frame of mind. Although I find, to be honest with you, when I'm not in the right frame of mind, that's when I should do this. And that's, I think, where other people should do Zen art as well. It's when you're not really in the right frame of mind, just break out of it. Force yourself to start. And I find once you start, in fact, look at the background there, the bits of flowers and everything. I do this quite a lot. I just take out a sheet of paper, start doodling, putting in random things on it. And as I said before, I'm trying to give it more of a bit of white space and different ways of putting down colour. I'm enjoying it. Well, we're coming to the end now. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you have. Well, if you've managed to stay with me until now, there must have been something here that you have found of use to you. So if there is, why don't you take a second out now and click on the subscribe button. I greatly appreciate that, but what I really love is if you take the time to do a comment. I used to never put comments, but it's important. So subscribe, comment, thumbs up, and then when the next one comes out, you'll be informed automatically when it comes out. And I would hope to have one out again in a matter of 2 or 3 days, something like that. So till we meet again, Slán Tamil, and take care.